If you're like most musicians, then you've probably had that experience where you're putting in lots of hard work in your practice, but it feels like you're just not making the progress that you deserve. Now, it turns out that the key to becoming a better musician is to look at things the wrong way around. Confused? Don't worry, I'm just about to explain what that means and how you can use it to improve faster. Hi, I'm Morley-Fletcher from Play in the Zone, and I bring you regular tips on how to improve faster as a musician and enjoy it more by developing your mindset and your mental skills. One of the biggest things that influences how much progress you see from your practice is whether you've chosen the right things to practice in the first place. And there's one serious mistake that I consistently see musicians making in how they go about choosing what to practice. In this video, I'm going to tell you what it is and how you can avoid making it so that you get as much out of your practice as possible. And while you're watching, make sure to like, share and subscribe if you're enjoying the video. And the big mistake that I see is about the order that things go in. Because the easy way to look at it is to think, well, we do our practice exercises, we see some progress, and then eventually we reach our goals. And yes, in the real world, real time, how things happen, that's the way that it works. But if you want to reliably make sure you are going to get to your goals and do it as quickly as possible, that is not the most helpful way to think about things. Actually, it helps to look at them backwards. You want to start by thinking about, well, what are my goals? And then, a little bit closer to that, well, what progress would I have to make in what areas to get to those goals? And finally, only then do you think, right, well, what exercises am I going to choose to work on to get there? So what you want to be doing here is starting by thinking about the end result that you want to get. Because if you do things in the normal order, where you just get stuck into the exercises that you want to work on, frankly, you're just guessing about whether they're going to give you the progress that you really want. When you do it the other way around, you've got a clear path mapped out. You know where you're going to, and hopefully you're then doing a little bit of thinking about, well, where am I now? What are the steps in between? That gives you the different progress bits. And then once you've done that thinking, you know that those exercises that you choose are the right ones on the path. And that's really important to do when you're just planning a whole load of practice in advance generally, but it's also good to come back to this before any practice session, just to check in. What exactly am I aiming towards, and are my goals going to get me there? So you're asking yourselves questions like, why am I working on this exercise? What result do I think it's going to give me? Why is this better than another exercise I might choose? And you don't have to think about these things really deeply or for huge amounts of time, but it's just keeping you on track. And every time you fail to have an answer to some of those questions, it's probably an indication that you've lost sight of the goals that you're going to, because a lot of it is going to come down to, if there is a specific goal that you know you're aiming for, then it's quite easy to look at the exercises and just say, is this going to get me there? When you struggle to think about that, it's usually a sign that you're unclear on your goals. And when you ask yourself that sort of question, why am I about to do what I am about to do? It's really helping you avoid just getting into that rut of carrying on unthinkingly with what you've always done. It's going to give you a little warning if actually that no longer serves you as well as it could do. So here's a really quick example of how this might look in practice. Just a very basic idea in only one area, but maybe it gives you some sort of idea of how you might apply this yourself. So let's say I'm looking to get better at improvising very melodically over some jazz tunes. And already note that this is a bit more specific than it might be. I could just say I just want to improvise better, but I'm definitely targeting more melodically and some specific tunes. So that's a good starting point. What is the progress that I need to do to get there? Well, I might need to know the harmony of the tunes deeper. I might need to actually be able to hear the harmony rather than just memorize it as theoretical stuff, but I'm guessing as to how the notes are going to sound over it. And for me, for melodies, I'm not just going to want to know, well, how does each possible note sound over the chord that it's on, but how do they move between the different chords as the chord changes? It's a really important part of it for me. So then I can start thinking about, well, what exercises do I want to do? And given that, I can see that they're going to be quite basic. One that I particularly like to do is just playing one note per chord, per bar, per chord, whatever it is, and then just seeing all the different ways that it can move to another note over the next chord. So really simple. I'm not doing anything very advanced there, but fantastic for developing my ear, for hearing melodic connections, for building very strong stuff that I can create great melodies on in the future. And that comes about there because I was clear about, well, I want these specific tunes so I can work the exercises through some very definite tunes, and I want to improve my melodic improvising. If I didn't have that, the number of exercises that I could have picked to work on my improvising, so much around different scales, all sorts of stuff that applies to improvising generally rather than specific tunes. There's a whole lot of stuff that could easily come out there as, oh, this is a good thing to work on, but it wouldn't be getting me towards my goals anything like as reliably as when I've done the work to think through those steps. And sometimes actually it might just not be that helpful at all. Now, I definitely recommend checking out my video on 3 tips to plan your music practice for better results next. And if you'd like the special practice and performance tips that I only share with subscribers, then head on over to playinthezone.com and sign up for the emails. They're free. I've been Morley-Fletcher. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.